It was the haunting crackle of a feast.
It's eaten. It's a living, breathing thing.
Part of the Okanagan Complex fire, devouring dry grass, inhaling strong winds, and expanding.
This is a little different monster.
From Highway 20, the flames towered overhead just a mile from the road.
Oh my.
Reminding everyone being forced to evacuate exactly why they had to leave.
Fires from different counties are merging. Never seen it. It is flying down this hill.
And soon, he'd seen enough.
I think I might need to go.
Okanagan County firefighters made one last visit to a home beneath the flames. One last warning to get out. Moments later, it's time to go. We joined them.
So we've been watching the fire burn. You can see it right here. It's crested this little ridge. We're on Highway 20, heading back towards Tenasket, and the winds have fueled it. Look at that. You can see how close it is right now. There's a family right below this ridge that just started evacuating. We're getting the heck out of here.
It wasn't long before Tenasket High filled up with others trying to escape.
I got family on the west side. They're all freaking out because they called when we were fleeing.
Some, like Tony Harrell, lost everything.
You say goodbye, you know, and we didn't know if we were going to make it.
But the fires aren't stopping, and by early evening, all of Tenasket had to evacuate too.
A lifetime of memories is poof.
It was a dream to live here, one that's now a nightmare.
Overnight, we've lost, I would say, 60 feet of land.
Michael Taxdall's house has a sidewalk to nowhere. The Skagit River, greedy for land, has cut into more than 100 feet in some spots. Riverbanks slide away every few minutes.
Oh, there it goes.
And with it goes whatever is on the edge.
Just unreal. It's unreal.
There goes another part of the bank.
Come on, there it goes. Oh no. Oh God.
There goes a big slab of her. A lot of people are going to be affected by this, that's for sure.
It started Wednesday. Since then, 3 families are now homeless.
Nobody ever figured in our lifetime that this was going to happen here, or else we would have moved years ago.
Oh, look at, oh.
Right now, I can't even describe the feeling that I feel.
See it, buddy?
And if anyone's mad about it,
I'm tired of it.
It's Mayor,
Frankly, I'm tired of it.
Eddie Hills.
Why do you think I called an emergency? You think I called it just for fun?
He's talking to Governor Inslee's office right now, but he's been on the phone for days with federal and state officials demanding help, but getting none.
This whole river, you've failed. Next time's not going to matter. And it's not going to matter for these people.
Now left without a home, paying a mortgage on land that's disappeared. Life feels a lot like this sidewalk. A future as uncertain as the river current below.
It's a sad deal. We never figured in our lifetime that this would happen here. We just did not figure that this was going to happen here.
It's a terrible shame. Enumclaw used to be such a nice community. So quiet, so peaceful.
For me here, it started Monday.
Dan Cleveland admits he may never be the same. I needed to see these beasts for myself.
This is where they've been hanging out, right along this driveway.
And finally, I see the terror.
We won't get much closer.
From a safe distance, I make out the ferocious faces of fear. I'll name them King and Kong. Their shaggy fur like the mane of a monster. Their bark, the howl of horror.
They started barking at me, and then I saw them as they kind of came out onto the driveway.
The dogs were on the road holding up traffic. We've had a couple of near fender benders out there.
It's terror with a wagging tail.
And there's a guy down there with a butterfly net trying to catch one of them.
Here to stop them, the long arm of the law with an even longer net. King County Animal Control. We watch as the mission crumbles.
It appears that it's going very poorly.
Animal Control resorts to Plan B, a crate and 13 ounces of irresistible goodness. Lamb. Kong was curious. Or was that King? I'm too scared to even think straight. All I know is the other one laid there in the sunlight, throwing terror in our faces.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how scared were you? 1 being scared, 10 being mortified.
Too scared for words, I take it, while King and Kong have the last laugh. And bark.
Obviously. It's a slow news day.
From patient to patrol.
Now you're a real trooper. Trooper Shane.
He's on watch at Harborview tonight.
And your hat?
Oh, badge.
Yeah, it's my badge, but I'm letting you use it. Because you're my partner, right? Yeah.
3-year-old Shane arrived here on June 10th as a burn victim. After becoming the most recent State Patrol trooper, he made the rounds tonight and told a patient about the accident.
When I was running, I accidentally followed over the black into the fire pit.
Shane fell 3 feet into a fire pit in his family's backyard. Shane suffered 2nd and 3rd degree burns. He endured a surgery and several skin grafts.
Wanna go look for bad guys?
But it has done little to dim his spirit.
And where's the bad guy now?
Oh, we love him. He's just the sort of patient that the nurses don't want to let go.
He's our little mascot. We always need a Shane around.
He's popular among the nurses and even the other patients.
Did you already take a picture?
Well, I think he's great. You got to have lots of entertainment in the hospital, so it's good to have him on the floor.
The outlook for his recovery is good.
Could have been worse, and we feel blessed that it wasn't.
The family hopes by sharing their story, people will be careful this summer.
I'm right here.
Safety is on his mind.
The kid's the bad guy.
Apparently I'm the bad guy.
He will go home soon, and there's no doubt they're going to miss this face around here. He's been through so much, but he's still smiling, still bringing joy, and still being Shane.
He's healing well. He'll have some scars, but he's a trooper. Not just a state trooper, but in life he's a trooper.
You see them from the street, off the highway and throughout town. Signs sprinkled around Roseburg. A dusting of remembrance and sadness and strength. In time, most will disappear, not because the murders at Umpqua Community College are forgotten, but because life moves forward.
We're not broken yet. So what do you need, Robbie?
But here, you can take the past with you forever.
I don't think anybody lives here that doesn't know someone that was somehow involved. Hi, are you ready?
Cherie Hall owns Tapestry Tattoo. Today, she was busy.
It's the organette line with Roseburg Strong and a green heart.
Really busy.
A lot of people, this is going to be their first tattoo. So that's really cool.
I'm kind of nervous.
Outside, Madeline Shirley was first in a quickly growing line.
I'm getting my first tattoo today, and I think this is for a good cause. So.
Few would argue, considering where she was October 1st, the UCC campus.
I was in the room next door, and I just remember hearing the shots, and then I ran out of the room.
On her 4th day of college, Shirley hid in the library.
I think it'll definitely be something that'll be with us for the rest of our lives. We'll always remember that day.
It's one thing to remember in your mind. It's another to remember on your skin.
A memory of a lifetime. Something that we'll never forget.
Tina Avendano was also on campus.
I didn't get to see what happened, but I got to hear the bullet sounds that went through. I don't know what's worse is seeing something or hearing the sounds that were taking people's lives.
The tattoos were free, with any donations going to the victims. And they were another reminder that even if the signs around town go away, this tragedy is tattooed on its soul.
Welcome to the tattooed race.
Shirley's was just the first of the day.
I love it.
Hundreds waited outside to ensure they will never fade.
9 people lost their lives that day, and I'm doing this in honor of them. Those are moms, children, aunts, uncles. They're never gonna have their life back. I want this as a representation to honor them, and so that nobody ever forgets. that day.
In Roseburg, Oregon, John Langler, King 5 News.
We stand here as equals with respect for one another.
It was a great photo op from the steps of the Idris Mosque in Seattle.
We preach a message of love.
Christians, Jews, Quakers, and Buddhists holding hands with Muslims.
Solidarity with our Muslim sisters and brothers in this community.
These are Seattle's religious leaders. Of course they wouldn't support Trump's ideas about keeping Muslims out of the country. But we know polls suggest there are millions of Americans who agree with Trump, and they're not holding press conferences in front of TV cameras.
Thank you for this great gesture of support.
That's why I decided to build a little experiment. I created this cardboard box and went looking for honest messages to Muslims. I picked Pioneer Square in downtown Seattle because it's busy and it's diverse. I found people buying food, eating food, playing games, and plain old passing through. I promised everyone I won't put you on camera. Just fill out a little piece of paper anonymously and tell me your honest messages to Muslims.
All right, let's see what we got.
It surprised me.
All right.
I walked up to 24 people, and 22 of them wrote a message.
You have my full support as fantastic members of the vibrant quilt that makes up America. This person just drew a heart. You are supported. Thank you for being great community members. God bless this country. It's unbelievable to me that anyone takes anything Donald Trump says seriously.
Most messages sounded like that. I realize we are in liberal downtown Seattle. Out of those 22 messages, I ended up with 2 that agreed with Trump.
Trump is 100% correct. Make America great again.
They do not respect us. They should not be allowed in. I admit I'm very curious who wrote those, but honestly, I have no idea. These were anonymous, unfiltered, and honest. In Pioneer Square, Dan Casuto, King 5 News.
At a house of clocks in Linwood, let's take a second to talk about how we tell time. Are you analog?
I've found that I'm a little bit more old school.
Or digital?
What time is it? It's 5:08. Timekeeping and learning how to tell time is important to me.
It's tradition against technology.
Easier looking at my phone. Oh, wait, what was the time for this one?
And as technology advances,
That would be 10, and then where's 40?
it seems it's tougher for some youngins to read analog clocks.
Okay, we got that one wrong. We got +0 on that one.
Even teens have a tough time getting their arms around small and big hands. Go!
It's me!
This race at Bellevue's Boys and Girls Club
Okay,
is where timekeeping and competition collide.
We kind of had an accident.
Last week, an online watch retailer asked the kids here to take a time-telling test.
Count it out. Nope.
Only about a third
Keep messing up.
passed.
It's been like 5 years since we learned this, so we're a little bit rusty.
Whoa, buddy.
Consider this a refresher course for the kids and the adults.
Do not put that on there.
No, you said even you have to cheat?
Even I have to cheat.
6.
These games and the online retailer's promise of a watch donated to them is enough to keep their attention for now.
And I don't really have to think about it.
So there's new school, there's old school,
It's definitely generational.
then there's
This is a little bit older school than what my daughter calls a round clock. This is a sundial here at Gasworks Park in North Seattle.
Daniel Winter tried this ancient technology.
It should be about 10:15.
It did not come second nature.
Ooh, I'm a little slow, 10:45. Oh well, I got nowhere to go.
Now he knows how his 7-year-old daughter feels.
If you show her a round clock, she stumbles and she's like, and then she'll run and look at the stove.
But Daniel asks, who cares?
I don't really think it's important.
As long as you get places on time.
You grow up doing things a certain way, you feel that it's important that your children learn that way too.
This change stuff for you?
Yes.
There's no doubt times are changing. And as the clock marches onward, the past tries to survive in the present.
Technology is taking over, it's true.
With photojournalist Joseph Huerta, I'm Ryan Takeo, King 5 News.
Lon Cole finds himself sitting there sometimes. Sitting there, thinking about those things that haunt him.
I don't think you'd ever forget stuff like that.
It's those things he'd rather forget. Impossible to forget.
What is your fear for him?
It's kind of already come.
I did my time in hell.
When thoughts swirl in his head, he knows he needs to grab them, put them down on paper before they disappear.
So your fear is that that blank piece of paper will remain blank one day?
Oh, yes. We seem to get tired more.
Sometimes for this Vietnam veteran, it's hard to keep track.
I've got Parkinson's. I got peripheral neuropathy, diabetes.
PTSD.
And
the things he forgets.
I can't even remember all the things that the doctors tell me I have.
It's a lot of things. A lot.
Alzheimer's.
Oh, yeah. I forgot I had Alzheimer's. Yeah, I definitely got that one.
He has been dealt this hand, and he must live with it.
The hardest part for me is the fear that I'll be a burden to my family. How sad and lonely they will feel.
Lon's wife, Chris.
He realizes now that he's deteriorating a lot more than he ever did.
I'm starting to forget my family's names, calling them by wrong things.
You know, there's good days and there's bad days, and there's even good days and bad days for me where I'm like, nah.
I don't like that.
Why do you write?
I write because it helps me, and then people who read it, it's going to help them. I hope. And sometimes when I write, it's so hard to capture in words to express. It just comes out literally. In words to express. As fast as I can move the hand.
He keeps writing.
Yes. He doesn't write as much.
That scares me, you know, when I totally can't do it anymore.
He knows that day will come.
So freedom would never end.
That his Alzheimer's will get the best of him.
Then I feel like everything's locked up inside of me and I can't express it. And poetry is my one way that I can express a lot. This is a poem I wrote while I was in Vietnam after a few months of being a medic. It's called The Scream of Pain. You hear the scream of pain, you will know a soldier was slain. I was patching up Marines because we got ambushed. You could hear the poor boy cry 1,000 miles. Right away, I had 2 of them die on me. Why so many young men die this old way? It's hard when you lose them and you can't save them. I mean, that's the ultimate agony.
Those memories.
But the pain that comes from it, I'd like to forget. I'm really sorry. I need a handkerchief.
He still feels that, those losses.
Yeah.
That never goes away, does it?
No, I think, when you see that kind of thing, it really pierces your heart for forever.
The things he remembers.
Life is a gift. It really is.
The things he forgets.
Before I come into the room, and I can't remember why I came into the room.
Lon knows he must write and knows what he must write about.
Hope brings strength and courage to go on.
Messages of hope.
I talk about that in my writing.
Fill the pages of his life now, his life with Alzheimer's.
We all need hope. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of pain and not too much hope, and so I hope I'll be able to give them hope and ease their pain and brighten their day.
He's determined. Determined to write.
Hope is the anchor for the soul.
Until he can't anymore.
It lifts you and guides you wherever you go.
John Sharifi.
Having hope is like a breath of fresh air.
King 5 News.
It drives away fear and erases despair.
In the dawn's early light, you can see a significant piece of American history. The Civil War can be traced back here to the shores of Charleston, South Carolina. At the twilight's last gleam. But how far have we come since our nation first came together?
Breaking news coming in right now. News of a mass shooting at a downtown Charleston church. There was a meeting inside Emmanuel AME Church, and we understand that a shooter went inside that church.
In the midst of a Bible study, someone would have the audacity to come and kill people in the midst of a Bible study. The church world was attacked. The community was attacked, and America was attacked.
In this land that we call free, what will it take to drive out the darkness of hate? The pain from that day rippled across the nation. It can be felt 2,500 miles away from South Carolina on Tacoma's hilltop at Allen AME.
It hurt my heart, and it still do. It brings tears to my eyes. To know no matter what color you are, that you can't go into your church and praise God without being killed.
The doors of the church are open. You can come right now and you can join the church right now.
But this tragedy did not shake the faith of this congregation.
I'm not going to run. I'm going to continue to come to my church.
The tragedy gave them a new mission to drive out hate.
We were instrumental in pushing forward forgiveness and forgiving even the shooter himself for what he had done.
The pastor of this church wants to deliver that message and the story of Charleston to his community and help his community heal.
Whether you're in South Carolina or whether you're in the state of Washington, you can remember Mother Emanuel.
But this story won't be told with a pen and a piece of paper.
One day, God's moved on me just to call the Museum of Glass.
Glass is sort of a pretty permanent material itself, and it's something that potentially will be around forever, as long as the church is there.
Ben Cobb and his team got that call to create a sculpture to tell that story.
How far we've come yet?
The American story.
Not so far. For something like this to occur in this day and age, I just find horrific.
You will see that sadness in glass.
There'll be 9 teardrops for the 9 victims, and each one will have a name on it.
And you will also see ripples to show how far this tragedy has reached.
I think whether something occurs out here or on the East Coast, it doesn't really matter. It still affects people all the same.
This memorial will hang on a wall of the Allen AME Church in Tacoma to honor those who lost their lives. And there will be hearts for those who survived.
It's a big surprise. They know that we're doing something. They don't know what it is.
Two women made it through that night in Charleston.
This memorial, not to be about death, but about life. There is still life after Charleston, South Carolina.
That life, Miss Felicia Sanders and Miss Polly Shepard, two survivors, were in Mother Emanuel the night their loved ones were shot and killed.
On June 17th, I lost my aunt, my son, and a cousin.
And even though months have passed, there is still pain from that loss and the inability to answer the one question that was posed to a killer.
Why are you doing this? We mean you no harm. And I want to say that all the days of my life, I want to send that message out. We mean you no harm.
And even though it may seem hard to forgive someone who carried out an act of hate, the response to that hate,
when you look at Matthew the 6th,
can be found here.
Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our own trespasses, as we forgive others who have trespassed against us.
Let's count it down from 5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, the word for peace, forgive.
Nine teardrops, 3 hearts, 1 tragedy.
Bless you.
We're going to fight to the finish. I don't know what the end's going to be, but I tell you one thing, we're going to be there fighting.
Let all the God's people say.
The darkness of the immediate past has taught those here present in the perilous fight that faith, love, and forgiveness will be the only way to bring life. With photojournalist Joseph Huerta, I'm Jenna Hanchard for King 5 News.